There's a place way out west that was booming in 49. 1849, that is. It was called Georgetown, and the folks named the settlement the Pride of the Mountains. Now, not far down the hill from here is a place named Sutter's Mill. Sutter's Mill began working in 49. This place will take you back in time. That old mill was built with wooden pegs and dowel points, still standing for the pioneers that passed this way so long ago. Water from the river was channeled under the mill. This turned the water wheel that ran the large saw blade. Many a man that didn't fulfill his dreams with riches from gold made a living in the lumber business after gold was discovered. Gold? Yeah, that's what I said, gold. It was right here in 1848 that James Wilson Marshall discovered the gold that brought the relentless hordes of gold seekers to the area. Gold, that precious, elusive metal that was the downfall of many a rugged 49er. Marshall's discovery brought on a rush of miners to California that was never matched in America again. Every mountain, canyon, river, and stream was searched. The prospecting and mining continued, but very few struck it rich. That magic yellow stuff that stirred the age-old frenzy in the hearts of men meant a destiny of bitter disappointments and heartaches for most of them. It's hard to believe now that so much went on here so long ago. The folks that live here now show that same tough, friendly pioneer spirit that settled these mountains. After the gold rush, many of the people moved on. The folks that stayed began to axe their living out of these woods with a lumber industry that still makes up a large portion of the economy today. The town has all services, and folks ready to help the visitor with any needs they might have. This is a town where four-wheelers can come early or stay over and feel at home. A visit inside these walls will take you back a century in time. The hassle is all left behind. The days of the 49ers are all around you. Yeah, these streets thought they had seen it all, from the gold rush of 49 to the disastrous fires that took most of the town. Yep, they thought they had seen it all. That is, until 35 years ago, when the first Jeepers Jamboree was held. 35 years. Now that's a long time, and in that time, these streets have seen visitors from all over the world. This place has the best-known get-together of four-wheelers ever put together anywhere.
Hi, my name is Mark Smith. This is a story of our Jeepers Jamboree over the famous Rubicon Trail in the high Sierras in California. The people that take part in this trip come from all over the world. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're media people. They want to take part in this trip, one of the most prestigious and famous in the world.
The camaraderie begins before registration. It's time to make new friends and renew old ones. Now, every serious off-roader has read about, been told about, or seen pictures of the Jamboree that's held on the Rubicon Trail in the high Sierras of California. You just won't understand a get-together like this until you do it yourself. You'll have to experience a Jamboree to understand it. The work for these annual happenings begins the day after the last one. It takes total effort from everyone connected. There's always something new to build, and after those severe Sierra winters, the kind that stranded the Donner Party not far from here, there's always repairs to be made. It's one of those never-ending jobs. The chopper turns the all-day drive into Rubicon Springs into a 5-minute hop. I wonder how they did all this before they started using them. The work is tough. It takes a monumental group effort to put on a first-class jamboree in the middle of this rough, remote area. There's a lot of pride that goes into the work at Rubicon. It's a heritage these folks plan to preserve. Some of these folks are third generation. Some of them have been involved since the beginning.
Currently, Rubicon Springs, there's 400 acres here. We have put a small group together, and we now own this land, and of course the intention is to preserve it forever for four-wheeling and recreation.
10 years ago, the Jeep Club from Lake Tahoe and Jamboree personnel traveled to Rubicon Springs in 40 rigs with 80 people and with enough cement and determination to complete the dance floor in just one weekend. Another extra for the Jamboree participants. Now here's a rig that's been around a long time. I wonder how we ever made it before the Jeep was born. The freedom these little units give Americans has become a very important part of our heritage. A Jeep is another complement to the American way of life. Back in Georgetown at the Jamboree Museum, there's years of memories dedicated to the Jeepers. There's also a Jeep there. It's an MA1. Now there are some folks that'll tell you these little units won the big one. That's right, WW2. This unit is pre-war and was delivered to the military in August 1941. This rig is one of the first 1,500 built and the oldest of two known to exist in the world. It's a veteran of Guadalcanal and sank in an LST during the invasion of Okinawa. It was recovered by a naval supply ship. She was fully restored except for this battle scar, a bullet hole. It's also a veteran of 5 Jamborees. Now that's what I call durable. Some of Jeep's foreign participants had little or no four-wheel driving experience. So Mark Smith gave him some driving tips on his obstacle course in town the evening before the adventure. The Rubicon ain't just a kind of a drive you want to start on if you're totally green. That first-timers can tackle something as extreme as a Rubicon says a lot for Smith and the rigs these folks are driving. It takes some people years to finally understand that it takes the right grip on the steering wheel. You got to keep your foot off the clutch, never slip it, and a feathered touch on the gas pedal. Maybe it's really not that hard to understand. I believe he said he'd break their knee with a rock if they didn't keep their foot off of that clutch. The rig started lining up on Main Street the night before the trek to Rubicon Springs. Some play too hard. They needed to catch another 5 winks. Well, they couldn't. The people they used to call friends just wouldn't let them. So it's out of the sack before sunup to a breakfast with some nice ladies of Georgetown. They said we'd better eat plenty because it was going to take a full belly and a thick hide to make this ride. The veterans of the Rubicon sit patiently, waiting to be turned loose. They already knew they had a tough day's work cut out for them. The newcomers to the trail that had listened to all the stories from the old pros the night before wasn't sure if they even wanted to be turned loose. 100 years ago, wagon masters led the pilgrims through the high Sierras. Today, it's the job of a Jeep master named Smith. Hit 'em up and move 'em out. They call this a jamboree. We call it a happening. The drive to the first challenges of the Rubicon takes you through tall pines and past Uncle Tom's cabin, another place time has stood still. Uncle Tom was a black trapper and trader. 130 years ago, he played host to prospectors, trappers, and hunters. Cowboys also used Uncle Tom's for a stopover place. Some say an outlaw could get a drink, a meal, and a bed here. It was one of the few places in all this wilderness that mountain men called home. From Uncle Tom's, it's on up the mountain through more scenery of California's high country. The view gives the first-timer something to think about besides the challenges they're about to meet. The tranquil drive doesn't last long. As we drive across the dam that makes up Loon Lake, the country opens up and we get our first look at the road we're about to attack. A massive granite bowl with a nice sprinkling of boulders they've been warning us all about. Anybody, and I mean anybody, pro and novice alike, that doesn't feel a little bit of apprehension here simply isn't in touch with reality. Rubicon. Ever wonder what it means? Well, Webster's dictionary defines it this way: a boundary or limiting line that when crossed commits a person irrevocably. When you conquer the Rubicon Trail, You know, maybe I better rephrase that. If you conquer the Rubicon, you're always going to remember some of the names along the way. Places that have given everyone that drives this road trouble at one time or another. Places that have caused some mighty sleepless nights. The Granite Bowl, the Granite Slab, Walker Rock, Little Sluice, Sluice Box, Lower Sluice, and Cadillac Hill. They're all part of the vocabulary of Rubicon veterans, an elite group of hardcore off-roaders that'll tell you, trying to hide a little pride, why sure, hell yes, I've been there.
This is just one of the alternate routes we've taken this year. It's coming down through this granite basin and up over the hill. Gives us a couple of nice little rough spots here and a little variation on the trail. Walker Rock. Now you can drive it a couple of ways. If you drive it right, you can keep all four on the ground. The other way is controlled but not recommended.
We have several bad spots along the trail. Of course, the whole trail itself, 22 miles, is a challenge to both man and machine. You let the vehicle start crawling forward with just a little bit of easy momentum, and it will take you over the roughest spots without getting you in serious trouble. Protection for your vehicle for the Rubicon Trail, you need side rail protection, which is generally 1/4-inch angle iron. Definitely skid plates for underneath your transfer cases and underneath the oil pan. We've had many vehicles that have done this trail for years without any damage to them at all. For many years, Jeep has used the Rubicon Trail to test their new equipment and to get the feeling the Jeep vehicles have been definitely Rubicon tested and Rubicon proven. Many people going on this trail for the first time, if they had not seen the vehicle ahead of them, they would have turned around and gone back because they don't think it's possible to do what the Jeep vehicle has done on this trail.
Ever had one of those days you felt like you should have stayed in bed? Things don't feel quite right to you? No matter what you do, it just ain't right. Now, who put that rock there? Every dang turn in this road gives you something else to worry about, and there's always one more turn. Each battle with the granite takes a little different approach. It does take some getting used to. The Sierra Nevadas are sprinkled with high alpine lakes. This is Spider Lake. They named it Spider because of the many legs that reach out from its deep, clear, cool blue waters. There's 1,000 coves up here, places where one can stop and relax, think, and not be pushed by time. This narrow crack in the granite is the infamous sluice box. A rig will fit through here, but it'll darn sure make you wonder.
On the Jamboree going back to the 35th year, we still have probably 8 of our committee people go back to the very first year. It's been a team effort through the years. In some cases, as in the Mannering and Warner family, we're now in 3rd generations that are working on the Jamboree. Many of our children look forward to taking our places on this trip. Personally, in my family, my son and 2 daughters are both involved heavily in the thing. We do have probably 50 people that work on the trail. We have doctors and mechanics. The Legion Cook Crew in here consists of 50 people. And it's the combined effort and enthusiasm of all of these people that make this trip the huge success that it is. They all do a tremendous job.
From here on, it's on to the lower sluice. I asked one of the troops from the Jamboree Committee how much further to Rubicon Springs. Is it tough? He told me, nah, it's just a little ways. It ain't too bad. Well, I figured after what we'd already driven, there couldn't be anything else to be concerned about. Not true. Is this really what the committee calls a Sunday drive?
We strongly endorse the Tread Lightly program by the U.S. Forest Service. We are concerned about the environment and making other four-wheelers and off-roaders aware of the same problems. We want people to stay on roads, stay out of meadows.
The Forest Service and the Jamboree has had many years of cooperation and working together on the Jamboree. The Jamboree recently sponsored the Tread Lightly program. The cooperation between the Forest Service and the Jeepers Jamboree group is a real positive experience for both parties.
We all pulled into Rubicon Springs a little weary and worn. The view is one of those places that gives you that feeling it was all done just for you. It made the day's effort all worthwhile. It was time to relax and forget all about the outside world. In 1886, the two-story Rubicon Hotel was built. Summer months have seen it filled to capacity by young and old alike that came to drink the mineral waters for a multitude of health problems. The water was also bottled and hauled out to be sold commercially. It was said the springs possessed remarkable medicinal properties. It was good for stomach, liver, and kidney troubles. It was also used for rips, tears, and ingrown hairs. A stagecoach made a daily run to Rubicon Springs. Wagons and buggies brought people to this solitude over a century ago to enjoy all the conveniences of home. The food was reported to be the best in the Sierra Nevadas. Not everyone could afford the luxury of this health resort. It took a whopping $25 a week for room and board. The horseless carriage soon replaced the horses. The cars were specially geared, which certainly helped with the steep mountain roads. But mechanical failure was very common and became a way of life. Time has since taken its toll on the road. They quit maintaining it at the beginning of World War II. Two-wheel drive just won't cut it here anymore. The hotel finally lost the Battle of the Sierra Nevada winters in 1953. The eternal seasons have left only memories and the rocks used for the foundation. The beauty of this country runs from sea level to sky level. The Ice Age sculptured these majestic monarchs. Remnants of that time can be seen all around you.
The Rubicon Valley in this area of the High Sierras is probably one of the most rugged and most beautiful in the world. In the years of the Ice Age and the glaciers coming down through the Rubicon, grinding other boulders and debris over the rocks, they've been polished smooth with grooves that go back millions of years.
Long before white men explored this area, Native Americans made this place summer hunting grounds.
The Rubicon Trail itself probably goes back thousands of years. Where Indians have come through here, there's many, many signs of Indians in here. People find arrowheads in here all the time. There are grinding holes in the rocks where the Indians used to do their grinding. They would camp in here in the summer months, fishing and hunting, also for the mineral waters. The trail did go on through the Sierras and into California.
Earlier we mentioned food and luxury. You know, these Jamboree folks don't do half bad either. They really call this roughing it?
Hey, my name is Pam Hudson. I'm from El Cajon, which is down in San Diego County, and I like the Jamboree because no kids, no dirty dishes. I like the beautiful scenery, the people. You meet a lot of nice people up here, and off-roading is our thing.
Champagne or white wine, shrimp cocktail, fresh green salad, Alaskan king crab legs, New York steak, filet mignon, sautéed mushrooms, corn on the cob a la Rubicon, ice cream sundaes, and that's just for breakfast. As the troops settled down for some socializing and serious eating, it became awfully quiet. There was a sound in the distance that you couldn't quite put your finger on. No, not way out here. It couldn't be. You know, we've listened to bagpipes before, but there's something about them things when that sound comes drifting through the trees on the evening breeze in the middle of nowhere. Every new day of the Jamboree brings something new. It wouldn't be very hard to make this way of life a habit. The USS Rubicon was running the river. She's a sister ship to the Titanic. Some of these landlocked sailors can't swim a stroke, but not to worry. She's unsinkable. Uh-oh. Oh-oh. We don't know how many passengers made it to shore. This man was later cited for bravery, for showing courage above and beyond the call of duty. He humbly accepted the honor, and as other brave men tried to minimize his deed. He said anybody would have saved that cooler. Besides, it was full of beer. Here's another lad that deserves some kind of medal. After the drive in here, over all them rocks, everybody else was sitting down a little gentle. And here he is sliding down granite on his, well, I guess you probably already got the picture.
We're going to leave the Rubicon Trail for a few minutes and take you into more of Searchers' country. The Searchers have spent a lifetime exploring remote, rugged, beautiful places in America that cannot be driven by two-wheel drive cars. To get here takes all four wheels pulling and a spirit of adventure to match that of the first settlers into this extreme country. These are the same roads the pioneers traveled over a century ago, in wagons pulled by horse and ox teams. To drive these roads in a four-wheel drive rig today will give you a lot more respect for the folks who settled America. Even today, few people visit these rugged, out-of-the-way spots. It's just too tough a drive to get here. We hope you enjoy the added feature to this Searcher's adventure. We want to share some of our favorite places with you. It is truly God's country. Before you tackle any of America's back roads, first know your rig and what it will do. Know your own limitations. Never drive off established roads. Never four-wheel drive alone. And never litter. Protect the environment, and four-wheel driving will always remain a heritage for free Americans. We'll take you back now to that beautiful extreme place the first explorers into the Sierra Nevadas named the Rubicon Trail.
There's something about warm mountain sunshine, clear air, and cool water that'll, well, let's see, I forgot what I was talking about. I guess it really doesn't matter anymore anyhow. For the more energetic Jeepers, there's always the mud races. There are a few requirements for participants. You must know how to swim, have strong bodies, and weak minds. This drive, as any other challenging road, requires your undivided attention. There has never been any better rig built for four-wheeling. But if you don't watch what you're doing, you're going to break something. And if you do, you're out of luck here.
We've had many vehicles that have done this trail for years without any damage to them at all. My own vehicle that I've had for years, the one I use on the expedition, did the entire Darien expedition, has been over the Rubicon Trail at least 15 times. The only thing that's ever been done to that is a spring shackle was replaced that I broke in the jungle. So it shows that you can drive this trail without any damage to a vehicle if you drive it right.
Jeep clubs are always well represented on a Rubicon Jamboree. There are many touching stories about this trail. This rig was driven by Don Hoberg. Don's family now drives Old Pal across these mountains in memory of him. Our foreign friends all agreed that Jeepers are a pretty lucky group to have a place like this to visit.
Congratulations for all people that you have a beautiful country and everybody is so nice.
There are always large camps at the jamborees. Some have been set up for years with the same group of family and friends. Kind of makes you wonder how this camp got its name. It's been another full day on the Rubicon. Talk about kicked back. We all begin to hope this happening never ends. Now this night is going to be different. We were all looking forward to this night's entertainment and the arrival of RCA recording star Eddie Raven. As promised, Eddie arrived just before sundown. He said he'd almost driven his tour bus all the way in, but had got it hung up in the sluice box. He said he didn't think this was going to be much of a problem. All they needed to do was move a mountain, and they could drive it right on out. If you believe that, he also wanted to talk to you about a bridge he has for sale. It was time to do some socializing before he started his show. And it was real nice to find that besides being a top artist, Eddie Raven is real people. The time finally arrived. Eddie Raven sang a medley of his songs and made a friend of everybody at the Rubicon this night.
Eddie Raven and the Raven Gang, here we go! He always gets her way. You're the only comfort I can find. Thank God for kids that snatch. Special kind of sunshine and smile. Tell me the truth, baby. After all that we've been through, if it's gonna be goodbye, gotta hear it from you. I used to think that only you said she loves me. She loves me.
The Rubicon is only one of the Searchers' adventure tapes. Jump in and ride shotgun with us. We'll take you into more action in Searchers country.
Couldn't believe all we've done and seen in such a short time. We were a little sorry that tomorrow would end our first visit to the Sierra Nevadas. We were wishing that we had some more challenges. We had driven to Rubicon Springs, so we figured we could tackle anything. It was at this time that guy from the Jamboree Committee, the same one that told me it wasn't much further to the Springs, he snickered and said, "You ain't over Cadillac Hill yet, friend."
Our biggest concern is litter and keeping the area clean. We are very, very particular about our participants in the Jamboree. We give them each 2 litter bags. One is for their burnable trash, which they can dispose of in our fire pit at Rubicon Springs. The other is for their beer cans and other objects that they must carry out to the Tahoe site and check in with the garbage truck. If they don't, we take them off the mailing list.
You want a challenge, come on out here and try this once. This is a thrill and an ongoing challenge from the time you start till you wind it up at the end. I've been on this trip several times. I've never ceased to be amazed at the performance of these Jeeps. You know, they're remarkable. Treat them with a little gentleness, a little kindness, an occasional pat on the fanny, and they'll do anything you ask.
Some of the less adventuresome hiked up Cadillac Hill. She thought the ride might scare her. That was so much fun, let's do it some more. Now, who would have ever thought there would be gorillas way out here? The Auburn, California artillery was called out to get rid of the gorillas. It didn't work. We all had to stop and take in the view from Observation Point. You get a view of the Rubicon River Valley from here that's one of the prettiest places we've ever seen. We'll just have to return here someday. It's a drastic change from all that granite to the highway and the shores of Lake Tahoe. We had been in four-wheel drive for less than 20 miles. We'd driven over a century into the past. We had made friends and memories we could never forget. We had conquered the Rubicon. At Tahoe, we stopped for the annual dinner with some neighborly folks at the trail's end. We were all a little worn and weary. I believe we all had some of the feelings the first explorers must have felt when they first crossed the Sierra Nevadas and passed through Rubicon Springs on their journey to the ocean. Some folks that had driven the other kind of rig had some fixing to do before they could return to reality.
Got to fix them all the way to the end, right down till the last dinner.
We carried out of those mountains a closer bond that is shared by all responsible off-roaders, love of the great outdoors, unequaled respect for the environment, and a spirit of adventure that will match that of the first settlers in this extreme country.
Jeep Corporation International has used the Jamboree for about 10 to 12 years as a major sales incentive for dealers and wholesale contest winners worldwide. And this has become a worldwide known event that Jeep Corporation uses as a major tool to stimulate our sales. Much of our product has been designed recently to accommodate both the on-road and off-road use, the versatility of the product. And it really takes this severe off-road use to see what a Wrangler can do. I'm surprised every time I come through, and I've been through about 8 times.
I have been coming into the Rubicon for 36 years now, and at this point on our 35th anniversary, we've taken over 20,000 vehicles and over 60,000 people over this trail. I do a lot of traveling in my work. I've been all over the world in many, many parts of the U.S. I feel the Rubicon area, the Tahoe area that we're in here, and the Rubicon Trail is undoubtedly one of the most beautiful areas in the world. Crisp, clean, fresh air, blue skies. It's truly God's country.
Thank you, Mark. That pretty well sums it up. This is C.W. McCall on the Rubicon Trail. Thanks for tagging along.